What's good, YouTube? It's Justice Says to be paying. Today I'm back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how TikTok being banned changes the rap game. But before I get into that, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Do all those things. It helps me out a ton. TikTok is going to be banned on January 19th, and this is going to have a massive effect on American pop culture. TikTok has been the driving force of pretty much everything entertainment, news, and media over like the last 4 years or so in America. The app has had such an impact on everyone's daily lives, even if you don't
Who are they? Respectfully, just asking.
actually have the app, your life has been affected by TikTok, by the existence of this app. And
Facts. I just got the app this year because I was avoiding it because I remember when it used to be, when it was first introduced and it was a transition from Musically. So a lot of like the weird furry people was on there. No offense to you if that's what you like to do, but it's like that shit creeped me out. So that turned me off instantly, and then slowly but surely, it was a lot of fucking weird jokes that was starting to gain traction that I just didn't understand. I didn't get it. I didn't feel like trying to get it. And when I actually downloaded TikTok like last year, it was only for like a few weeks. I was like, this shit is not giving me the fucking entertaining shit that I want. But these past few months, it's actually been hitting. I think you got to give it, of course, give it time to like get acclimated to what you want and shit. But I feel like TikTok is such a cheat code in social media, and I kind of wanted to use it. And it looks like it's really about to be gone this time. But they say they about to ban it. They say they about to ban it every year. They always say that shit. But I think this time it looks like it's actually about to happen.
And TikTok has really had a massive impact on the music industry. The music industry
Facts.
has pretty much been flipped on its head via TikTok, with rap being a part of that. And with the arrival of TikTok came so many changes and so many new wrinkles to the music industry. And now with the potential departure of TikTok, so many changes are going to happen again, especially in the rap space. Now, I'm going to say this about the TikTok. I'm going to say this about the TikTok being banned thing. I don't think that it's a security issue. I don't think that this is for the safety of the people. And if I think that this is just kind of another way for the government to restrict information, because you can't control TikTok. That's the one thing that I love about the app. There's no like big force out there that can really control TikTok. The way the algorithm's set up, it's the people talking to the people. Information is being spread. It's so easy like to get people to communicate. I just think that this is another way to kind of shut that down. But that's just my opinion. I might be wrong.
I never thought of it like that. I always wonder why niggas want to ban it so much. Like, what's it about? Like, because they'll say, oh, it's retrieving too much data or it's like soliciting your information without you knowing and shit. But I thought that's what everything on the, like, everything technology does that nowadays. Like, your Amazon shit, like, for example, like Alexa and all that, your ads that you get on whatever. That could be Instagram, that could be YouTube, Facebook. I didn't realize that TikTok was so people centric that, you know, communication and deliberate like servitude, almost like, oh, we know exactly what you want and we know exactly who to give you when it comes to the topic that you're looking for, because that's probably what he's talking about, like how the government doesn't want you to know about certain shit. It doesn't want you to be able to spread information in a certain way, maybe. I don't know. I still don't get it. I'm trying to like put my like thinking cap on and figure it out, because I don't see how it's that much different than other other apps until he just said what he just said, and that being the control. I didn't realize how uncontrolled TikTok was from like a big overarching standpoint. I didn't really know that.
But I will say this. I'm going to list some of the good and some of the bad of this TikTok ban and how it will affect rap and the
Yeah, let's talk
rap
about the
space.
music. Let's talk
Now,
about
I'm
the
not going to
rap.
lie. I'm very biased. I like TikTok. I do. That's actually how I got my start as a content creator. I wouldn't be here right now making this video more likely than not if I wasn't on TikTok or if I didn't have TikTok. So I'm going to be pretty biased, but I will give the negatives and the positives. So it's not just going to be me just basically crapping on the idea of TikTok being banned. But I will say this. I'm going to start with the positives. All right. The first positive that will come from TikTok no longer existing is that we will no longer get those made for TikTok songs.
I knew that was gonna be the first thing he was gonna say. I knew that. I knew it. I should have said it beforehand. I thought it was gonna be like, we're gonna get more. We're gonna get less of microwave, TikTok aimed songs and TikTok aimed hooks and lines, and like it's gonna be more actual, genuine, you know, like music coming out. But let me hear what you got to say.
Which is probably the worst subgenre of music in the game right now. We all know those
Facts.
songs where you listen to them and you're just like, yeah, you definitely cooked that up with the idea that it was going to go viral on TikTok. It happens all the time, and it happens especially from like really big artists on a project, on an album. You can always find it. Just go through any big major artist album for the most part, not all of them, but for the most part, anybody that's signed to a major label, you can find the TikTok song that's on the project. More specifically, you can look at Lil Baby, right? On Lil
No, facts, facts. That Hey shit by Lil Baby was definitely some TikTok shit. Uh, Way Too Sexy by Drake and Future and Thug was definitely some TikTok shit. Even off Future's most recent shit, mixtape Pluto with that no 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 I forgot the name of that shit where he's nodding off. Even that shit, that's got to be made for TikTok. What else? You could probably name so many. Honestly, respectfully, I love the song. I love the album. Even Kendrick, low key, like TV off with that mustard. Like I think we all could obviously hear that that was gonna be aimed towards TikTok. Here's the thing though. I don't mind. I don't mind if it just happens to have moments that could be used in the social media space if the song genuinely sounds good and comes from like a real place. You know what I mean? That was like a big like gripe that people have with Tootsie Slide by Drake is that you're forcing the fuck out of trying to make a dance song, and you could tell that you're trying to do that shit for TikTok or social media or whatever. When Tootsie Slide first came out, that was around the time that TikTok was starting to like emerge because um, if you remember, that was around the pandemic quarantine times, and that's when everybody started hopping on TikTok more and more and more because of how bored niggas was. So he kind of like was trying to capitalize off of that, which was pretty obvious. Which honestly, it's hard to like it's hard to say is that just bad artistry or good marketing. Where do we draw the line between bad artistry and good marketing? In my opinion, the line is drawn right at the point where you realize that you're doing something pretty fucking artistic, and you just throw a little something in there that could really throw a little a little like a hook, like when you're writing an essay type of thing that really grabs attention. As for Lil Baby and that Way Too Sexy shit, I just don't feel like that came from like a real artistic place. And this is coming from somebody that actually used to really like listen to Tootsie Slide a lot because I just think it's catchy. But yeah, I understand what he's saying. And I'm hoping that we get less of that shit where we're making songs just to make them pop off online and not because we actually feel like an artistic connection to the work that we're trying to drop.
Lil Baby's last album, that was the Say Twin song.
Say twin, say twin, say twin, say twin.
Say Twin, Say Twin, Say Twin. On the album before that, it was Hey. Pretty much
See,
any
see
song
the
that's
hey.
on
I'm
an
telling
album
you.
with a phrase that's being repeated over and over and over again, you can kind of tell that they were probably going for the whole TikTok thing. It's pretty obvious. I can't necessarily like describe it perfectly for every song because some songs they don't do it with just like saying the phrase over and over again, but you can just kind of sniff out when somebody's going for a TikTok hit, and
Yeah.
that's something that's probably going to go away very soon with TikTok not being in existence in America anymore. Or like when a song comes out and then like immediately before anyone can try to make a video to the song, before any of the people can try to make something creative with this new song, the artist comes out and goes, "Hey guys, do the so and so challenge. You play the song and you dance like this.
Fact.
See how I'm dancing? You guys should do it."
Yo, I forgot when Swilly did that shit. That shit was so bad. Like trying to like make a challenge for what song was that? It was a song that came out last year, I want to say, and it just like fell flat horribly. And the ironic part is when he wasn't trying to do it for real, when he did that fucking he had that clip of him singing Marlene's Gone Cold, I wonder. Like he did a basically like a parody of Eminem's Stand hook. When he did that shit went everywhere. People loved it. Like that shit, it didn't even sound like he was trying to make a TikTok clip. He would just recorded himself singing while walking around like his fucking like penthouse or some shit. I remember it vividly. Like, he was on like a balcony. And when I tell you that sound was used in the backgrounds of a lot of fucking TikToks and Instagram Reels and shit, that shit actually blew up. That shit actually was the biggest attraction, in my opinion, to the album that was supposed to be released after it. And once that album actually released after it, it was so fucking, I don't want to say like slept on, because like it was for good reason. It just wasn't good. You know, people just wasn't fucking with it. And he tried to like throw in a challenge. So what the fuck was the song? Oh, no, no, not Scrub the Ground. That was fucking Quavo, which was another bad TikTok song. I'm gonna find it later. But just know, if you were around that, if you listened to what I was talking about at that time, you know what I'm talking about.
With two, tag 5 friends. I hate when that happens. I hate it. No trend is really started like that. Like it just never works like that. It's always authentic. Please stop trying to force yourself to have a TikTok hit. It's very annoying. One song that I
Facts.
actually really do like that they definitely try this with is the ski song. The song on one of the YSL albums. The song where it's like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Remember when Young
yeah, I
Thug and
remember
all
that
them got
shit.
on here and tried to get us to ski to the song and do that? It didn't really catch on the way they wanted to, but the song did well anyway, so I guess it didn't matter in the long run. But again, more examples of people trying to make TikTok songs. Very rarely does a song that's made for TikTok end up even being just a good song in general. I know I just said I like the ski song, but that's like a that's not the rule, that's the exception. Very rarely do these songs end up being good, and very rarely do these songs even end up actually trending on TikTok outside of like the first week of the artist heavily trying to push this song on us. But another positive of TikTok being gone is that we will not see as much gimmick rap. Now, gimmick rap is always going to be a thing. It's
Facts.
always existed. It always is going to exist. But gimmicky rap has had kind of like a thriving period over the last few years because of TikTok. Because TikTok likes to push kind of gimmicky things because again, it's more of a dancing app. It's not
Sheesh.
necessarily a music app, but obviously, if you're going to be dancing, you probably want some music. So, music is a major part of TikTok, but oftentimes, a lot of really like corny or just jokey stuff will come out of TikTok, and songs will blow up on TikTok, which means they're kind of blowing up in real life, but they'll blow up because there's a funny meme behind the song. They'll blow up because
Yeah.
there's a funny dance that goes with the song. They'll blow up because of the context of the song. They'll blow up because, somebody who's like an influencer on TikTok made the song. They'll blow up because of some sort of TikTok context that doesn't actually exist when you listen to the song outside of the TikTok context. And the song and the artist as a whole just kind of doesn't hit with anybody that's not directly in that TikTok audience. So a lot of the time we'll end up with artists that are just really kind of goofy, or not necessarily artists that are really goofy, but just like songs and waves that don't really work outside of TikTok. And
That's facts. I love what he just said there. I love him saying songs that will work only on TikTok. And as for the gimmicky shit, I'm not gonna put that all on TikTok because some of that is just fucking. I hate to say it, but like these hip hop platforms pushing it as well. Because, well, I guess that's because they know it's gonna blow up, and it's probably gonna blow up because of short form content, which TikTok is the biggest of that. But for example, I'm not gonna hold you. Dave Blunt is a huge example. That nigga, his new gimmick is not new gimmick, but his gimmick is to just be fat as hell while rapping on oxygen machines and in fucking hospital beds and shit like that, sitting down on stage. And he would have never got that first if it weren't for that fucking on the radar shit. I think on the radar is the one that does the most promotion of the most gimmicky shit. You see mad weird fucking rappers on there that aren't even really being like super creative. They just got this weird thing they go that they go into, like for example the fucking nigga, or they just dress weird or like say some crazy out of pocket shit or like have a nasty inflection, just like really really corny shit. But sometimes it be hitting. It depends on your preference, of course. Like Dave Blunt to me is a very, very talented guy. Like to me, he's talented, but that was just a wild ass like intro. You know what I'm saying? Like you remember the fucking crying in the kitchen shit they did on the radar? That's what I'm talking about. Shit like that is like crazy. But yeah, the gimmicks gotta go.
if your sound and your wave can't work outside of TikTok, then it's probably just not that good in my opinion.
Cause my eyes switching, that mean there's somebody talking. 762, they like problem solvers. Especially with his top, watch his body.
I remember
crawling.
this.
Hey, baby boy, watch his body crawling. Yeah.
Yo, him and Coyle Ray got some of the worst double XL. Him and Coyle Ray got some of the worst fucking double XL
And
performances
again,
ever.
this might be a little bit of a hot take, or maybe this is just kind of mean, but it's also kind of true in my opinion. I think we don't get the same Ice Spice that we got over the last few years if TikTok doesn't exist. Like, I don't think she blows up in the manner that she did without TikTok. I still think she does become very popular, but I just don't think we get the magnitude of Ice Spice having multiple top 5 Billboard hits and being in the Barbie movie. I don't know if
Yo, it's hard to focus on what you're saying. Why would you use this? I know I use this. I know I use this. A good way to keep attention on the video, my guy. I gotta learn how to do shit like this. No. Whoa. Pause. Hey, yo, not like what you. I meant like editing wise, like put. Fuck.
all that happens without TikTok. I'm not gonna lie, because Munch was probably gonna go viral on any social media app, but specifically on TikTok, it hit way different. So I think Ice Spice still would have blew up.
Also, that shit song too. You're not even the fart. That shit not doing nothing without TikTok.
I just don't know if she would have blew up to the magnitude that she ended up. TikTok is really good at gathering the masses together and getting them to voice their opinions. And this is a good thing, but it also can be a really bad thing. TikTok is very good at pushing narratives. Once a narrative kind of gets rolling on TikTok, it is very hard to stop. It's very hard to go against that. And sometimes that can be a really negative thing in the rap space. And it can just completely like change how everyone feels about a song, an artist, or an album. You can see the multiple hate trains for somebody like Polo G, Lil Baby. And, you know, even though I don't feel like Lil Baby's recent music has been good, I feel like it's kind of gotten a little out of hand on TikTok. But one major example of how the narratives can really flip on TikTok and just really just become super dominant is the song Carnival in early 2024. Carnival in early 2024 was one of the biggest songs in the world. It went #1. It was a huge song. Everyone was talking about it. It was everywhere. It was like, oh my gosh, this crazy sound. Nobody heard anything like it. Everyone loved Carnival. And then we got the TikTok Riz Party. And that just kind of changed everything. Now, if you're hearing me say these words, TikTok Riz Party, as a grown man, and you have no idea what I'm talking about, I understand. I look kind of crazy. I get that. But the TikTok Riz Party, for anyone that doesn't know, is this party of these kids. They're like middle schoolers, maybe young high school, and they're just dancing. They're just having a good time dancing to music. And Carnival comes on, and they're all like trying to look really cool. It's just kind of cringy. It's nothing like too bad, but it's just kind of like a cringy video from like a middle school, high school age party, and it just kind of ruined the song Carnival for everyone. Like nobody wanted to.
I don't like it. I don't even hear it happening, but just the visual of it is like really off-putting. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. But honestly, this is some middle school shit. We all had that phase where we were like in the middle school dances trying to look fire and hype each other up and shit. And it just like looking back on it, if you got videos of it, you look fucking like ridiculous. But when it's in this setting, I'm very much on fight or flight right now. I'm kind of thinking I gotta back up from my screen and shit. This is not it.
Talk about that song after that video. Like it was kind of like almost corny to play Carnival unironically after that TikTok Riz Party video came out. And it was literally just some kids having fun, looking a little goofy. It wasn't that deep, but that completely changed
it's not
how people talked about the Carnival song. Like that video, even though, again, it was just some kids having fun, it unironically changed the way people talked about Carnival on TikTok. Like it was kind of taboo to talk about the song unironically and talk about listening to the song and post yourself enjoying the song after the TikTok Riz Party video. And again, it just wasn't that deep, but TikTok is very good at pushing narratives, and that's one positive thing that's probably going to come from TikTok being banned. Now, I'm going to get into the negatives, and the negatives are just way heavier. They outweigh the positives by 10 times, in my opinion. So I was being fair. I was trying to be a little unbiased by talking about some of the positives of TikTok being banned, you know, getting rid of those like TikTok songs that are mandated for every album.
I got one more positive. I got one major positive that's also not that major because of other shit that's online. Because you gotta remember, TikTok is not the only short form content place. It's not the only social media place. But one thing I'm excited for, which is why I kind of wish Twitter would get banned sometimes. I don't have it. I just hear it's really toxic. I'm excited for niggas not having this mob mentality fucking bullshit where because you see all these other people liking a song, now you want to like it, or because you see all these people hating a artist or a album, you want to hop on it. Now, granted, like I said before, that's not gonna totally eliminate that because there's other social media platforms. Even without social media platforms, there still have like a lot of people that don't think for themselves. But on TikTok, I feel like it's just way more rampant because it's just so accessible. It's like so accessible. Like let's say you're on Instagram. Instagram doesn't necessarily cater to opinions very often. Instagram is more of like, I feel like, in my opinion, or for what I've seen, Instagram is more of like a hub for like straight like optics usually, like optics in your taste and your kind of like, you know what I'm saying, the kind of things that you might be acclimated to just from what you scrolled on. But fucking TikTok, what I've noticed is that they will give you the exact opposite of what you fuck with, or they will rage bait you damn near, so that you go against certain shit because it's just more engagement. So I'm ready for that to end, because that's been doing this thing where people will, let's say your favorite artist is fucking, let's say your favorite rapper is like Jay-Z or some shit, right? And they're slowly seeing that you like Jay-Z. They're gonna put you in these spaces sometimes like out of nowhere, where it's somebody giving a whole rant on why Jay-Z is underrated as hell. And then to negate that rant, or to negate that thought process, are gonna be a flood of people giving their think pieces on it. And half the time it's people that don't even fucking listen to him, but they're seeing everybody else hop on that retaliation. So now they're hopping on that retaliation, and that's just one little minute anecdotal example. But imagine that shit for like current modern day like releases that just dropped like a week ago. Like during the whole Drake Kendrick beef, it was happening so fucking much, where niggas was like come up with the most like out of nowhere fucking defenses for why this isn't okay and this isn't, and everyone got to be a fucking, like, everybody thinks they're a psychologist on TikTok. So I'm ready for that to be over. I'm so sorry, but yeah, the mob mentality shit is a huge positive that hopefully is not gonna completely dissolve, of course, but will be slightly mitigated just because of how accessible that shit is on TikTok. Because I've seen it before. I've seen TikTok know that I like a certain thing and then show me somebody shitting on it because the rage bait will get you a reaction, or just because, like he said, there's just a lot of information on TikTok that comes to you easily. So yeah, that's one of the other positives that I think might be, significant.
Every major album has one mandated TikTok song on it. The gimmicky artists who really are, popular because they dance really well, or maybe they made some funny memes, or there's something funny related to the song, or it's just a
Can we talk about that too? These fucking dances only work on TikTok. Let's talk about that shit too. A lot of these TikTok dances do not work in an actual social setting, and you little niggas gotta know that. It only works in a social setting if you guys are making a TikToker. And like, in my opinion, why are you at a party doing this? Like, I don't know. I'm not saying it's like fucked up to do, or like it's corny to dance, but like, bro, that's not a real like I don't know. That's not a real dance to me.
big person on the app making a song. We can get a little, we can get rid of some of that stuff as well. Get rid of some of the more gimmicky stuff that happens on TikTok that blows up in rap, which just isn't very good. And also just the narrative pushing thing. But besides that, there's not that many positives, in my opinion, that can come from TikTok being gone. And there's just going to be
I
way more
understand.
negatives. The
Yeah.
rap game losing TikTok will be a massive blow. And the first and most pivotal thing that will be gone with TikTok being gone is TikTok's amazing discoverability. Nowhere else on any social media platform is there discoverability like on TikTok. Anyone, anywhere, at any time can post one thing on TikTok and change the rest of their lives forever. And that's not me exaggerating. Obviously, it typically takes more than one post, but it can really happen in one post, and you can change your life forever on TikTok. And that just doesn't exist anywhere else. And that's what makes TikTok so amazing for all artists, because you're really just not that far.
Fuck artists. That's for everybody. That's artists. That's content creators. That's even athletes if you're trying to get seen. It's like, that's the thing that I really wish I tapped in with TikTok for when it like first started jumping, because I could have propelled myself so far if I just like learned how to use the app and then started there and gain a following. I didn't realize how amazing it was for that, because I'm not on social media like that. So this is not just a bad thing for artists. This is a bad thing for anybody who wants to, like, have like some type of social media career. Like that shit is like that's gonna be a huge hit.
Far away from blowing up beyond your wildest dreams. Like multiple careers have really kind of started on TikTok and blown up to amazing successes and amazing heights because of TikTok's hyperspeed algorithm, where pretty much anyone can go viral in like 30 milliseconds, like anyone at any time,
That's
anywhere. And
facts.
that's
That's
not an
facts.
exaggeration. And that's what makes TikTok so great for small artists, especially because you have a chance
This
every
nigga
time
staring
that
at
you
me.
post on TikTok. You're literally playing the lottery because you can literally win any day. And that's what makes it so great. And that's why so many great artists have blown up partially because of TikTok. Because the TikTok algorithm is so heavily influenced by the people. And if the people like something, it's gonna go up. Remember the JP guy? I'm JP.
You ever told a bitch I
Yeah.
got G's? You ever make a bitty hit her knee?
Remember that dude? His entire career really only existed because of TikTok's ability to spread his posts. The Georgiana girl recently has blown up on
Yep.
TikTok, and she's
Nah.
doing a lot of really cool things right now. She has a solid career at the moment, and some of those names might be a little unfamiliar to you, but let me give you a more potent example if you don't really know who I'm talking about with those two. Yeet. Yeet's entire
Oh shit. He hit me with that one. That's so real.
career really took off on TikTok. He didn't even ever actually have TikTok, but TikTok is the reason why Yeet is so big to this day. Obviously, the reason more than TikTok is the fact that people just like his music, but without TikTok, I don't know if they're able to spread his music like wildfire the way that people were able to spread Yeet's music in 2021, which took him from, essentially a nobody online, no disrespect, to a major rising star in the rap game and to now somebody who's selling close to 100K first week. TikTok took his career and just boomed it all the way to the top.
It's
The
not
internet
ridiculous
has
to say
allowed
that.
for smaller artists to have
I'll take going further. If Baby Keem didn't have Kendrick as a cousin, I still think he's blowing up because of TikTok. I'm sorry. I didn't know Baby Keem was even related to Kendrick until like months after I was already listening to him a lot. And Orange Soda which is Keem's like first really big song. It was on TikTok. It was on TikTok a lot actually. Uh and that's Baby Keem. And people hold him like at a high regard when it comes to like the new age. So yeah, TikTok is amazing for discoverability of new artists, but and I don't know if this is a but or if this is a good or bad thing, but I feel like it gives A&Rs like real deal record label A&Rs. It gives them a little bit more with TikTok being gone, they gotta do better at basically like I feel like we haven't been discovering amazing talent uh as as frequently as we used to. Like I feel like let's just say 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was like new, like real groundbreaking like rappers like all the time that actually had a lot of skill, a lot of relatability, a lot of just a lot of good shit. And nowadays, mind you, it is oversaturated, but with the use of TikTok and all these other like social media platforms, I feel like A&R should have been eating. Like I feel like I should be seeing a lot more, like interviews where we talk about shit like that. Like for example, like when Jack Harlow blew up, you would see him and DJ Drama on interviews together and shit, or whoever was discovering him. Like I don't see none of that shit going on, and and I mean. That's the thing. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Like, I don't know if that means we're gonna get better A&Rs who are gonna actually try to really lock in and, go these certain routes and methods of discovering artists and actually listening to rappers rap, or that means they're gonna get even lazier because they're not using a very, very helpful tool that TikTok is. Because TikTok can be super helpful to finding real talent as well. And honestly, just because someone blows off a gimmick doesn't really mean they're bad. We got to remember that part. So some of the gimmicks being lost, I personally am glad like gimmick rap could possibly be, mitigated a little bit more. But in my opinion, Four Bets is another one of those people that blew off because of TikTok. And again, it's because of these platforms, these freestyle platforms. He had like this on the radar thing that wasn't on the radar. It was like on the block where he's singing with the ski mask on, but like like he looks like a YM, but he's singing like a soft nigga, right? That's a gimmick, but that there goes that line of, is it bad artistry or great marketing? To me, it's great marketing because the way it sounded was beautiful. He just decided to, I'm gonna switch up the look, I'm gonna subvert your expectations, and then boom, that shit was all over TikTok. You kept, I'm coming to slide at ABN, I'm coming to slide at AP. Every time you swipe, you heard that fucking song, and the shit sounded great. Now where is he now? I don't know. I don't know if he's locked in now. He dropped a project and shit, and I haven't heard much about him since. But I'm wishing him the best. But yeah, like discovering new artists with TikTok, I can't tell if that's gonna be good or bad. With it being gone, because, like I said, on one hand, it gives more battery in the back to like people that's supposed to be discovering music to discover real good music. But on the other hand, it's like that's a really good tool to find in new music. So I don't know, man. This whole yeet thing is kind of cooking me because I didn't even think about it like that. It's very true.
More discoverability more than ever before. Obviously, you don't really need a major label to be discovered, at least initially, right? People can find you without having a major label. But TikTok took the internet's ability to make people a lot more discoverable in music and multiplied it by 1,000 and made it so much easier and really helped even the playing field, level the playing field. You don't need to be signed to a major label. You don't need a whole bunch of crazy cosigns. You don't need to know this guy and know that guy. You don't need all of these crazy things. You don't need a whole bunch of money. You don't need a crazy budget. All you really need is to catch flame on TikTok. Now, that's not super easy. I know I'm making it sound like it's just easy as make one song and upload it on TikTok. It's not that easy, and it's never going to be that easy, and it never was that easy. But regardless, TikTok has helped even the playing field for smaller artists who just want to live their dream and make a whole bunch of money doing something that they love to do. And TikTok has helped more people live their dream than anything else on the internet. And that's why I love TikTok, especially that discoverability. That discoverability on TikTok is something that has never been replicated, and hopefully it does get replicated, but I don't know if it ever will because of how powerful it was. Careers are getting kickstarted in a mainstream, substantial way in less than like 15 posts sometimes. And the discoverability isn't just good for the artist, it's amazing for the fans as well, because TikTok's discoverability allows fans to discover new music. Fans are spreading and exposing other fans to new music at insane rates. So many people have learned about so much new music through TikTok. I've learned about so much new music through TikTok personally, finding these newer, smaller artists who are on the rise. I remember when names like, Ken Carson and Jace were floating around in the early days of 2021 on TikTok, and people were finding out who these people were, and other artists as well. Like, fans have discovered so much music through TikTok, old songs that are becoming viral again, old trends that are becoming viral again. Like, this has just been...
Bro, I found a Japanese R&B song off of scrolling on a IG reel that was obviously a copy of a TikTok. And it is amazing. It's Strange Things by whatever they're called. You probably heard it on TikTok too. That shit is fire.
Been the best space for music encountering that has ever existed, and it's not even necessarily a music app. There's just so much knowledge and so much like intel being spread about music between fans that it's really good as a music listener. It's something that I enjoy. I can go and scroll on TikTok and find the most niche of niche artists without even having to do much research. And it's just there because that's just kind of how TikTok exists. A major example of this is the LiAngelo Ball song recently. LiAngelo Ball's song, the I Might Swerve and that Tweaker, that was viral before it came out. Once the snippet was, recorded or whatever on Neon Stream, that streamer on Kick, and it was uploaded to TikTok, it spread like wildfire. In a span of like 2 or 3 days, you couldn't go 2 or 3 scrolls without hearing that new LiAngelo Ball snippet. That's how amazing the TikTok algorithm is in terms of fans discovering music, not just people getting their music found, but the masses as well finding new music.
But on top of that, I hate to interrupt them, but on top of that, not only are they finding the LiAngelo Ball song, they're finding what inspired the LiAngelo Ball song, because TikTok is really good with that too, where you're like, what the fuck? This sounds like some old early 2000s shit, when you hear LiAngelo Ball do what he does, right? And since that blew up, then here come the think piece niggas that take something from there and then make content on it and put it on TikTok. So then, he got it from so and so that dropped it off at this mixtape in 2005, 2006, or Oh, it's actually because he used to play the 2K game that had this early 2000s song in it. He used that as his inspiration, blah 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 blah. So now instead of just listening to D'Angelo, you're like, wait, let me go back to that era and pick some shit out from there that I want to listen to too. And you never know what that snowballs into. Like inspiration is such a like a wildfire thing. Like you just never know when it's gonna strike, and you never know how much it's gonna spread and how deep it's gonna go. Um, Pause. But yeah, I feel like that's another very underrated thing about TikTok is like finding background knowledge on something that you already are just getting into, and now since you're just getting into that thing, you get to the thing that created that thing. If you know what I mean. I feel like that's really amazing, and hopefully that can continue in other ways if TikTok really gets sniped off. Because I still have this little inkling of hope that it's not, because they've tried it so many times, they say it so many times. But yeah.
It's amazing for it. And another example of this is the Opium Collective. That whole group from 2021 until now,
Yeah.
look at the massive growth that they've had. And I would attest a lot of that to TikTok. A lot of that growth came from, Ken Carson's music being trending on TikTok and Playboy Cardi and like all of them, everyone in Opium, not just the smaller guys, and Cardi included. They've all massively benefited from TikTok helping spread their fan base, because a lot of these guys, well, Ken and Lone kind of, but like a lot of these guys in Opium, they're not. A lot of these guys, well, Ken and Lone.
You know how much slang came from TikTok or got popularized by TikTok? You know how many narratives, like rap wise, that are that have become like fucking law now because of TikTok? Like honestly, this whole Cardi aura shit, like I said, the accessibility of mob mentality with TikTok is really what makes it like fucking lethal, because you can't do that amount of dick riding on other platforms and have it spread that quickly. The amount of dick riding you could do now, I'm sorry to be vulgar with it, but that's just what it is. Like the amount of dick riding and hating, but also the amount of dick riding and loving something, it's just so fucking quick now. It just and it gets and it sticks around. Like TikTok used to be the thing where you thought, oh, it's not gonna last, it's just gonna be a fad because it's a TikTok thing. Nigga, people are still on this nigga Cardi's nuts. Now, mind you, of course he has a loyal fan base and all that. He's making good music too. On top of that, he's just not dropping this shit. But when I tell you like the the perspective, not no, the perception of him, a lot of that shit was driven by TikTok, in my opinion. Like this whole aura shit. You can even say that about content creators and shit like that, like Duke Dennis and all that. It honestly takes a platform like TikTok to revolutionize that amount of dick riding. I'm sorry. I'm just keep it 1,000. But I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying that's just what it is.
Kind of, but like a lot of these guys in Opium,
Still
they're
waiting for
not
that
posting a
album,
whole
by the
bunch of
way.
music. Cardi doesn't post a whole bunch of music. So guess what? People are becoming fans via the fans. The fans are the ones doing the work and saying, nah, you got to listen to this, find this leak, nah, play this, look at this outfit, look at this performance, look at this.
Yes,
The
yes,
fans
that's
honestly
true.
did a lot of the work for this Opium wave and making it as big as it is and introducing it into new fans. And they were doing this through TikTok. Look at the performances from Rolling Loud just a few weeks ago. The day 3 performances, the day with Cardi and Ken and all them. If you watch Ken Carson's performance and you watch Lil Baby's performance, you would think that Ken Carson is the guy that sold over 200K first week and had #1 albums and #1 songs and top 5 Billboard hits. You would think that Ken Carson is the guy with that, and Lil Baby is the guy who's kind of on the come up and he's very popular, but he's not like quite at the heights of like a Lil Baby. You would think that Ken Carson was the Lil Baby in the situation, but that's just because of how popular Opium has become with the spreading of social media, in particular TikTok. The whole Opium wave has become a huge thing in rap because of TikTok. TikTok gave music
Facts.
fans basically the largest forum in the world to talk about music, which I know I mentioned earlier as kind of a bad thing, but it's definitely a positive as well. With millions able to share their opinions via posts and comment sections, you really get a feel for how the people feel about music. And again, you get to expose people
Our
to new
pop-out
music
show
because
was
it's not
lit.
just
Wish I
mainstream
went.
music being talked about on TikTok. There are niches of niches of niches of music being talked about with thousands of comments and thousands of posts and a whole bunch of content creators talking about it on there, which also helps really people to kind of understand what's genuine and what's not, because there are a whole bunch of campaigns being ran on TikTok all the time by labels and big companies and stuff. But you can kind of tell, at least it's very
Until
easy
everybody
in
go puff
comparison
is
to other
crazy.
social media platforms, which are genuine and which really aren't. And again, labels can pay.
Yo, Just Wanna Rock. I forgot about that's as TikTok as it gets. It's like what, a minute 30 seconds, and he's not really rapping on it for real. He's like saying words here and there. It's damn near like a beat with ad libs. Shit, that's a crazy TikTok song.
Pay for promo on TikTok, even from, the content creators that are just by themselves and independent of any major companies or any major labels. But at the end of the day, if you go on the music side of TikTok, you know that they really do not like that stuff. Like, the people on TikTok do not like paid promo, any of that type of stuff. They will call it out and say, bro, you're just doing this for a bag. You're just trying to get a bag. LOL, bro's just trying to get a bag. And they will call you out immediately. I know they call you out on other platforms, but it's really, really potent on TikTok. Like, you can't get away with any paid
She look
promo on
kind of
TikTok.
good. I'm not gonna
They
lie.
know. Trust me.
I'm
I
getting
know. I've done
distracted.
paid promo a few times on TikTok, and every single time, more than half of the comments are just like, bro, you just did this for a bag. How much did they pay you? How much did they pay you? Like, you do not get away with paid promo on TikTok. So that's why I really stopped doing it
You can get
as a
away with
whole
paid
towards
promo
the end of my
anyway.
TikTok run. But on TikTok, people are ready to sniff stuff out, and everyone's going to call it out. Not to mention the thousands of rap content creators like myself who made a bunch of amazing content. There are so many people breaking down lyrics, explaining aspects of the art, breaking news, and just being genuine in their overall coverage. This is super important because
And it's better to do that shit on TikTok than it is on here, because you do this shit on here, on YouTube or whatever. That shit, man, that shit's so hard to really like make it go somewhere. And it's like I just gotta learn TikTok, but like, fuck, I'm stuttering. I should have just been on TikTok like from the jump. If TikTok does not get banned, I vow to make TikToks consistently. If it doesn't get banned, I would take it as a sign to consistently stay on TikTok.
sometimes the older media figures that are backed by these huge media corporations can feel disingenuous and maybe even bought out. It's clear when a media company is kind of like pushing an artist or pushing a certain narrative, but with TikTok came a lot of creators like myself who came in with over 100,000 followers, up to 500,000, up to millions of followers, and have a real impact, but they're giving real opinions without having to worry about a company shackling them or a record label shackling them. The only shackle that they had is to their audience and to the people, and that's exactly how the media should operate. With
Facts.
TikTok now possibly going away, a lot of real hip hop fans will say that this is a good thing because we'll get less gimmicky artists. We're less likely to get like the Ice Spices of the world becoming super popular. But anyone that has genuinely interacted with the TikTok rap space will tell you that there's a lot of really good stuff that comes from it.
There
And probably
is.
more good
There
stuff than
is.
bad, at least in my opinion. Look at somebody like Doechii, who's looked at as somebody who's next up by the real rap fans. A lot of her rise has come from TikTok and people spreading her music on TikTok. TikTok allowed everyone to be a player in the rap landscape, from listener all the way up to creator, and this was without any radio stations, major media companies, or even playlisting on a streaming service. TikTok really is a power to the people kind of revolution where the people just get to kind of control what goes on. And of course, there were major corporations trying to get in on it and paying for campaigns, and they would do their thing. And sometimes it would even work, but it would only work if people actually liked it. So at the end of the day, people were at least liking the paid for, bought out, sold their soul, campaigns that were popping up on TikTok. But overall, TikTok being gone is going to be a major loss for the rap scene in terms of small artists being able to get the recognition that they probably wouldn't be able to get on any other platform, and fans being able to spread music to other fans who just don't know about any of the other stuff going on out there. Being able to spread music, create their own content about the music, and just overall blossom rap into a much bigger and much more diverse community. But that's going to be the end of my video. If you made it this far, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. It helps me out a ton. Have a good day. I go by the name of Pay. Peace.
That was a good video, man. I like that, bro. I'm subscribed to. Yo. Yeah. TikTok, if TikTok's really gonna be gone, I'm gonna be a disappointed camper. I really am, because I just got this shit. But I still gotta hope that rap will find a way to, find another power to the people platform. I don't know what that platform will be, Don't know when it's gonna, really pop off if this TikTok thing really goes through. But what, we got like a few more days left of this shit. Yeah. I I'm just hoping that whatever it is, there's a lot of genuine creators there, and there's a lot of opportunity to truly grow at like a actual, like, significant rate. That's all I hope for, because that's what TikTok was really, really great for, man. I used to be paid. That was a great video, bro. Good shit, good shit.
So I used
Sorry,
to
I
be paying
paused
today.
you. I had a really awkward facial expression.